Welcome back to the Carbon Farm Planning COMET-Farm tutorial using the Allee demonstration farm. My name is Haley Nagel, the Outreach and Education Specialist for the COMET-Farm team at Colorado State University. In the previous video, we defined our future management practices for several parcels. For the remaining parcels, please use the document in the description of the video that defines future management for those parcels. In this video, we will describe the animal agriculture component for the Allee demonstration carbon farm plan. I would like to point out that the updates to the Animal Ag module will occur after September 2020. First, to proceed to the Animal Ag, we will select Continue to Animal Ag. On this first page, we will enter the zip code for our project, 50568, and you can determine your units of measurement that you prefer. We will then select animal types included in our plan. Animal type refers to the type of livestock, so cattle, poultry, swine, bison, or goats, but also the different life stages or subcategories of those animal types. We will be including just beef heifer stocks for ours. If you would like to select more than one for your project, you can select or unselect each of these little boxes. The Allee demonstration farm does have additional animal types like poultry, swine, and dairy cattle, but for simplicity's sake of this sample carbon farm plan, we will only be including the beef cattle. If you're struggling to determine which animal type best suits your project or operation, the blue check mark in the top pane provides further details on each of these animal type categories to help you choose. Once you select your animal types, you can select Save and Continue. If you've selected more than one animal type, this will appear in the top left corner. If you have more than one scenario, they will appear underneath the scenarios list. On this page, you will define the herds for your first animal type of your baseline. COMET-Farm defines herds as groups of animals within the same category, but with different feed types or different manure handling management practices. So for example, if we had a group of beef cattle fed one type of feed and another fed something different, they would be considered two separate herds. So we would need to differentiate between those herds on this page. For the Allee demonstration carbon farm plan, we will only have one herd and we will leave the name as default herd. We can select Save and Continue, but similar to the cropland, you can also proceed by selecting these top categories. On the animal details page, we will define how many cattle we have on average per month. Note that if you have more than one herd, you will need to do this for each individual herd. And you can toggle between herds on this pane on the left. We have on average 27 cattle per month for our specific plan. To save on data entry, because we have the same for each month, you can select this button next to January, which will populate the rest of the months. We can then select Save and Continue to define our weight. I would also like to point out that different animal types or categories require different information under these animal characteristics. To see a detailed list of information COMET-Farm will ask you for each module, you can search "What information do I need for COMET-Farm" in the Help Desk widget. Anyways, we will enter our weight information for our beef cattle on this page. We have an average body weight of 550 pounds with 3 pounds of weight gain per day for a total average mature weight of 1350. You can select Save and Continue to proceed to hours of work. Ours are not considered draft animals for this carbon farm plan, so we can leave this as 0 and move on to types of feed. For types of feed, you can assign different feed types for different months, or the same feed for every month by selecting the squares on the left of these months here. For our baseline scenario in the Allee demonstration carbon farm plan, our beef cattle were fed the same feed year-round, so we will select all of the months. If you have already entered feed types for a month, the completed column here will say yes, and then the feed column will be populated with the feed type you've selected. So we have not done that yet, so we need to enter our feed type in step 2. We will search for the feed type in the first list and then select the category from the second column which will populate your selections column, which is the third one. Here we will be looking for alfalfa. We'll be using hay early bloom and then select add. Once you have made your selections in step 3, you can confirm your selections and they will populate the percentage portion in step 3. So here we will enter the percentage of each. If it does not add up to 100%, COMET-Farm will let you know. We can select done. Once you select done, you can scroll back up to table 1 to see if it has populated your choices. If you had different feed types for different months, you would need to repeat steps 2 and 3 until the table is fully populated. We can now move on to the feeding situation. Here you will select the primary feeding situation for this herd. Remember, if you have multiple animal types and multiple herds, the green check mark on the left-hand pane will show you which herd you are currently working on. The primary feeding type for our baseline period is a stall, which you can change the options by selecting the arrow button. And then we can select Save and Continue. On this next page, we will define our manure management system. For our plan, there is no solid liquid separator, and our final or end treatment or storage method is a temporary stack and long-term stockpile. We can then continue to the manure system details. This question on the details pane varies depending on your choice of manure system type. For this plan, the solid storage system is uncovered solid, and the manure is stored for more than 6 months. You can modify these by selecting each box. We will select Save and Continue. The Manures Detail page is pre-populated with default values for the region, but you can modify these if you have different values by selecting each box. At this point, we are on the last Details page, so we will select Save and Continue. We can begin our future scenario management practices here, and we can begin by naming our scenario. So I will just name this Future Scenario. We do have the option to copy over details from your baseline period, which we will do, and then we can make the necessary changes for a future management scenario. For the future scenario, we will leave the animal type and herds the same and select Save and Continue. We will also leave the animal details the same, the weight the same, and the hours of work, which is 0, the same. The first change that we will make is in feed types. Because the Allee demonstration carbon farm plan includes implementation of rotational grazing, we will need to modify the feed types by selecting Remove all dates and start over. First, we will select months November through April. This feed type will be orchard grass. Category hay, select add, and our second one will be alfalfa, and this will be hay early bloom. You can add this as well, confirm your selections, and then input your percentages. So 80% orchard grass hay, 20% alfalfa. You will select done, save your feeding types for current selected dates. You select OK. I will scroll back up to the top to check to make sure it has populated the table, which it has, and now I will select the last months for the second feed type. For this one, we will be selecting orchard grass again. And for this one, this will be fresh early bloom. Select add, and then our second one will be clover. We'll be looking for red fresh. Select add, and then confirm your selections to add your percentages as well. Orchard grass will remain at 80 and clover will be 20%. You can select done to save your feeding types. Then you can scroll back up to the table in step 1 to check that all of your feeding types have been entered. Then you can go ahead and proceed to the feeding situation. Our primary feeding situation has changed from stall now to pasture. You can click save and continue. For manure details, we still do not have a solid liquid separator, so that will remain the same, but our final treatment will be modified to deposit it on the pasture range or paddock. You can select save and continue for the manures details page. For this page, based on your choice on the previous page, you will not have any information to input for the manure system details, and you can proceed to the manure details page. Again, on this page, similar to the baseline, we will have the default values that we will need, but if you would like to modify this information, you can just select each box here. At this point, when you select save and continue, we are done inputting animal agriculture information for the Allee demonstration carbon farm plan. Remember, if you have multiple animal types or herds, that you will need to complete the information for each category. If you have another scenario that you'd like to include in your plan, you can repeat the steps that I just demonstrated by entering a new scenario here, and you can copy information from either your future scenario or baseline to your new scenario. For us, we will select close, and actually we will continue to the agroforestry, so stay tuned for the agroforestry demonstration, the final COMET-Farm component of the Allee demonstration carbon farm plan.